Welcome back to Mobility Now, the Metropolitan Transit Authority of Harris County, also known as Metro, a key partner in many commute solutions programs. My second guest today is Jerome Gray, Vice President and Senior Press Officer at Metro. Jerome, welcome to Mobility Now.
Thank you, Senator.
What are some of the major challenges Metro is facing today in our Houston area?
You know, I think in many ways the challenges faced by Metro are the challenges faced by everyone in our region as we look at what's happening with population growth. So many people are moving to the area, to the region. They've discovered that, you know, there are jobs here, it's affordable housing here. The climate is generally nice, you know, sometimes sizzling summers and potential hurricanes, but overall,
weather.
Exactly. But overall, it's a great place to be. And with so many people realizing that, that means our population growth is going up and up and up. So the challenge for us is, as more and more people move into this area, how do we make sure that they can get from point A to point B in the most efficient way possible that is not detrimental to the environment, that is not detrimental to the infrastructure. So the biggest challenge is working with the mobility partners throughout the area to figure out how best to move people around this region as the population increases.
One of the things that I see and hear is our area is kind of like a wheel and spokes in that we have a very dense central area,
Yes.
but we have a lot of high growth that's occurring in the outlying areas. Yet all of those folks, are a great number of them anyway, are moving in and traveling to jobs in the inner core areas of our city. And one of the major challenges that we're trying to, as we become more congested, is how do we deal with that when we're in these outlying areas and then coming into the area? And can you tell us more about some of the things that Metro is doing to kind of address these issues?
Sure. I think one of the challenges that we face is, just as you've articulated, what's happening on the outside. What we're seeing right now, our park and ride service, our bus park and ride service, are becoming increasingly popular. Limited resources. There are a number of those buses that are packed because people living in the outlying areas are taking advantage of those services and then traveling into the inner city or to the downtown area or to the medical center. That's becoming more and more challenging as we see the need to increase the number of park and ride trips that are occurring there. So we're trying to address that as best we can. We have 28 park and ride locations around the area. We're looking at expanding and adding a few more over the next couple of years. It takes some time to build out, plan out, and add park and ride service, but we're trying to do that. We're also looking at the fact that when they come downtown or to the medical center, how do they get, you know, where they want to go in the central business district area? Metro Rail has been such a key player in that arena because through Metro Rail, when people are coming on their buses into downtown, they can then take the rail line along Main Street to other places where they may go, be it the medical center or be it originally just to the University of Houston downtown. We've since, of course, expanded. So those are two key ways that we're trying to move people around in the area. I do think what we're discovering at Metro is that when it relates to the park and ride service, the demand is keeping up, or the demand is so great that we're not able to keep up with that demand.
Tell me, you mentioned Metro Rail. Tell me a little bit about some of your future routes that we are about to see open if they haven't opened already. Okay,
let's tell you a little bit about, you know, as you know, Metro Rail, the light rail system started here in Houston in 2004. It was originally a 7.5-mile system that went from Fannin South, just past NRG Stadium, through the medical center, through the museum district, into downtown, and then ended at University of Houston downtown. That line has been so incredibly successful with, we're now the second highest passenger boardings per mile in the country, second to Boston. So that just gives you some idea how popular it is. We reached our 100 million rider projection 4 years ahead of schedule, just to give you some idea of how popular it's become. Since December of 2013, we've extended the red line, the original line, that now extends beyond the University of Houston downtown all the way up to the North Line Transit Center and Houston Community College. That, too, has been a very successful line for us with this extension. This is the first time we've really traveled through neighborhoods, you know, on the northeast side of town. And what we've seen is people in those neighborhoods appreciate having that rail service there, and so it's been very successful. What you're going to see in Houston as it relates to rail in a very short period of time, just over a year, we will have tripled the size of Metro Rail, going from that original 7.5-mile line to about 22 miles of rail, going from roughly 18 rail cars when we started the original line to when all the rail cars are here, 76 rail cars.
Oh my goodness.
It's a major expansion. Each rail car carries about 200 people in each rail car, and you do the math, you can see we're taking a lot of people off the roads.
Well, can you tell me about Metro's bus service? Because I know y'all have been hot and heavy into a lot of planning efforts, and we have seen through the years the ridership go up and down.
Yes.
Tell me a little about what's going on there.
Sure. Our Metro bus service, our Metro service area is 1,300 square miles. It's a huge service area with over 10,000 bus stops. As I mentioned, the 28 park and ride locations, 20 transit centers, which serve as hubs for people who are riding the bus to transfer to other buses, with 1,200 buses providing service to people every day throughout this community. Our fixed route bus service annually generates about 68 million passenger trips on the buses, so people are using. The local bus, in particular, we've seen some fluctuations in the number of people using the local bus service over the years. Right now, it's at a decent point, but it's not where it used to be. It used to be closer to 80 million boardings on our local bus service. What we are finding, though, is as we dig deeper down and our planners work on our bus system, there are some tweaks that we can do to improve the number of people riding the system. And, given the opportunity, I'll talk a little bit more about system reimagining and what that is. That's a plan to help improve our local bus service so more people can use the bus service. So we're getting there. We're trying to make some improvements there.
We mentioned early on about how we have so much growth happening in the outlying areas, and that's one area when maybe we don't have quite enough people to run a transit bus route, but we can have a Vanpool program. Can you tell us or talk to us, because I don't know that as many people are familiar with the Metro Star Van program.
Well, I think I'm finding that there's so many services that we have at Metro and other agencies in the community that people don't know a lot about. So, Shelley, I'm glad you asked about the Star Vanpool service. It's a service that provides transport for 5 to 15 commuters who help share the cost of providing that service. They pay for it. On average, it costs a commuter about $4 to $6 per day to use this service. The Star Vanpool service is worked out in a way where everyone meets at a particular central location and then take that Vanpool into work. Metro is able to connect with businesses, connect with commuters who want to use this service to provide the service. Right now, we have about over 700 Star Van routes in our region. And it's not just in the 1,300 square mile region that I mentioned for Metro. We extend out to the whole 8-county region for our area. So it's more expansive, it covers more area. And a lot of people use it. Over 7,000 commuters.
Over 7,000 commuters, and while that may not be the most Vanpools of any program in the country, it is, from what I understand, the most vehicle miles of travel reduced of any program in the country. So we have some long trips happening on those Vanpools.
When you talk about those miles, we do 2.5 million annual trips a year, mileage-wise, with the Star Vanpool.
That's a lot of miles.
Which is a lot of miles. It ultimately works out to about 60 million miles that are not driven by cars on our roadways each year. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, while it may not seem like a lot of commuters using it, certainly is a lot of reduction in wear and tear on our infrastructure, on our roadways, when you think about how many fewer cars are on the road because of that service.
Lastly, what does Metro see as opportunities to come?
Shelley, I think for us right now, one of the biggest opportunities is something I touched on before called system reimagining. It's where we're taking a look at our local bus service and how to make it much better than it is. It involved stakeholders and everyone involved coming together, taking a blank slate and planning out a new bus system, a local bus system. We're in the process of doing that, and we'll roll it out later this year. The key highlights of this Reimagined bus system is it will connect 1 million people to 1 million jobs in the area, double what we do right now. It will provide much faster service, much more reliable service, more direct routes, so you're not zigzagging and crossing, because some of our bus routes, when you look at it, it's like, it goes up 2 blocks, turns here, then goes down here, then turns that way. We're trying to straighten all that out so that it's more direct, easier for people to be able to understand how to use the service. And we expect that it will probably generate upwards of 20% increase in ridership over a 2-year period once we implement the plan. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I believe it's going to be great for people, and it's going to be easier for people to know. If you know that a bus is coming every 15 minutes, you won't have to look at a schedule. So we're creating a frequent network where many of these buses will come less than every 15 minutes without you having to consult a schedule, and we'll have the service 7 days a week.
That's great. Thank you so much for coming, Jerome. With all of the options that we have, but with our high growth rates that are going to be taking place, we need to take advantage of every option and opportunity that we have to reduce trips on the road. And when we come back, transportation alternatives for commuters in the southern part of the region, stand by.